One Piece Chapter 1097 is just around the corner now, and fans are incredibly excited for it, given how the last few chapters of the story concluded. Fans have gotten a look at some of the most intense events to have ever taken place in the world of One Piece, such as God Valley. Quite a big chunk of the last chapter was focused on God Valley, and fans absolutely loved it, and that was to be expected, given that they had waited 4 years for these events to be illustrated in the manga. However, God Valley won't be the focus of One Piece Chapter 1097. Instead, it is going to be the events that succeeded God Valley in the Sorbet Kingdom, where Kuma and Ginny currently are. Kuma and Ginny's New Life. Towards the end of the last chapter, fans got to see that Kuma managed to eat his devil fruit and, with that, gain a power known as the Hands of Liberation. He used this power to free slaves from God Valley, and it is known that he saved 500 lives on that day. Kuma was just like Nika on that day, and that is certainly something that must have been fulfilling for him. Ever since he was a kid, he wanted to be more like Nika, and he certainly accomplished that even when he was just a mere kid. Kuma realizes that he has much more to offer, and that is why he is currently in Sorbet Kingdom, where he is trying to build himself up from scratch, along with Ginny helping him all the while. One Piece Chapter 1097 is most definitely going to focus on these two characters trying to improve their quality of life. In the previous chapter, it was quite clear to see that they had now started earning their own money. By splitting blocks and selling wood in the town, Kuma made enough money to afford fulfilling meals. This was the first time that Kuma and Ginny ate until their tummy was full, and that was certainly very emotional for the fans, given that these two are just kids who have had to see the horrors of life at a very young age. Now, these kids will try their best to improve their quality of life even further. One Piece Chapter 1097 will most likely focus on how they try to go about it, and what steps they take to rise even further up the ladder. Kuma becomes the king of Sorbet Kingdom. One Piece Chapter 1097 might also give fans a bunch of time skips. This isn't something surprising, and fans shouldn't really treat it as one either. Fans have already seen time skips happening in the flashback. For instance, immediately after Kuma was born, there was a time skip to Mary Joy, when Kuma was already much older. Then, fans had another time skip where Kuma was 9 years old, and this time, he was in God Valley. Another time skip here is almost certain to happen, and fans should absolutely expect that to be a part of One Piece Chapter 1097. By this time, Kuma should be much bigger and much more successful in his life in the Sorbet Kingdom as well. Fans have been made known of the fact that Kuma was the king of Sorbet Kingdom at some point. Right now, he is no more than a random kid who sells logs. However, Kuma will eventually rise to the position of king, and that is certainly something that fans will love to see. Kuma's father was king. However, fans should not expect him to rise to this position just because his dad held the throne at one point. Rather, he is highly likely to rise to this position with his own 2 hands. He is going to be a figure that people all around the kingdom love and, as such, elected into the position of king. There is also the question of how Kuma came to be known as the Tyrant. Fans again rest assured that a personality such as him can't even harm a fly. So where these rumors started flying from, and how he got this name remains to be seen. Perhaps, One Piece Chapter 1097 might give fans insight into that. Dragon makes a move? One Piece Chapter 1097 might also give the fans a look at Dragon. Fans know that Dragon is one of the most important characters in Kuma's life. Together with Kuma and Ivankov, Dragon created the revolutionary army, known as the Freedom Fighters at first. The Freedom Fighters will be seen at some point in this flashback, however. It likely will not be the next chapter. However, the build-up to the creation of the Freedom Fighters could very well be in the next chapter of One Piece. One Piece After 1097 could give fans a glimpse of Dragon and his own aspirations in life. However, fans should not expect a lot from this flashback, given that Dragon's story will properly be explored at some point in the future of One Piece. That said, the presence of Dragon and Ivankov could be explored over the next few chapters, starting with One Piece 1097. The time for Kuma to meet Dragon should be arriving very fast now, and fans absolutely cannot wait to witness how it happens, and how this group ends up becoming as close as they were. The fate of Ginny. The creation of the Freedom Fighters also raises the question of what happened to Ginny. Fans know that Ginny is an exceptionally important character in Kuma's life. These two characters will end up getting married and, together, they will have a kid named Bonnie. Perhaps, fans will see them all grown up in the next chapter, and they might already have had a kid at that point. That is, if the time skip is big enough. However, regardless of that, fans have not seen Ginny anywhere in the current timeline of the story. This obviously raises quite a lot of questions as to what happened to her, or if she's even alive in the first place. It is possible that Ginny is a part of the Revolutionary Army, however. If such a character was there, then fans would most certainly have seen her by now. It is likely that she died, however. How that happened isn't known just yet. Oda could shed some light on her character's future as well, and unfortunately, it doesn't look to be a very bright one. There are lots of things to look forward to in One Piece chapter 1097, and fans absolutely cannot wait to see where Kuma takes them next. The flashback has been nothing short of amazing for the fans, and it could easily be one of the very best in the entire story. Kuma's rise has been very fun for the fans to witness, and, hopefully, it gets even better over the course of the next few chapters. And in other news, One Piece, the hunting competition of the Celestial Dragons, explained. The Celestial Dragons depict everything wrong with the world of One Piece. They consider themselves better than other people because of their heritage. Due to their delusions, the Celestial Dragons even refuse to breathe the same air as normal people. Ever since they were introduced in One Piece, all they have done is show how evil they are. The Celestial Dragons feel entitled to be treated in a special manner. The status was granted to them centuries ago, and it puts them above the law, meaning that they are free to do anything they want, including illegal things. The Celestial Dragons have been involved in slavery, murder, and many other heinous things. In One Piece chapter 1095, another cruel activity of the Celestial Dragons came to light: the native hunting competition. 38 years prior to the current story, the Celestial Dragons gathered in West Blue to announce that the next native hunting competition would be held in God Valley. They were not happy with the fact that the kingdom was not affiliated with the world government, yet it was named God Valley. They intended to hold their manhunt on the island and claim it for the world government. The king of God Valley was in attendance, and he decided to speak up, which proved to be a bad decision as he was killed by Saint Figurland Garling. He was being dubbed the favorite to win the competition, so the Celestial Dragons decided to make him start with minus 10,000 points. The Celestial Dragons intended to slaughter the natives along with other criminals and slaves that they had captured. Unsurprisingly, the Celestial Dragons were extremely happy to see the bloodshed, and none of them seemed to be bothered by it. The people who were being targeted knew that they had to run away at all costs to save their lives. One of the runaway slaves was a young Bartholomew Kuma. Unfortunately, he was captured again by the people working for the Celestial Dragons. Toward the end of the chapter, fans saw a young Ivankov and Ginny. The significance of the competition. The hunting competition of the Celestial Dragons was nothing more than a recreational activity for them. They did not care how many people died for their pleasure. All they wanted to see was innocent, unarmed people being killed. Judging from their words, the hunting competition held in God Valley wasn't the first of its kind. The Celestial Dragons presumably carried out this activity every few years. Naturally, there must have been other islands that fell prey to their sick and sordid desires. In addition to being a source of pleasure, the hunting competition also allowed them to assert their dominance over regular people. The Celestial Dragons take pride in their status, and they do everything to make sure that people know of their superiority. Needless to say, the hunting competition would have continued if not for the incident that took place at God Valley. The God Valley incident is one of the most famous and mysterious events that took place in the One Piece world. It occurred 38 years before the current timeline, and there were many big names on display. While the Celestial Dragons were busy with the competition, the Rocks pirates made their way to the island. Currently, it is unknown what exactly Rox D. Zebek wanted. The Rocks pirates attacked the Celestial Dragons and their slaves. Upon their arrival on the island, only Saturn and Figurland Garling could be considered powerful enough to match the strength of the Rocks pirates. Despite their strength, it wouldn't have been possible for them to hold off an attack led by the legendary Rocks and his crew. The Rocks pirates consisted of some of the strongest characters in history, such as Shiki, Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido, etc. The best that they could have done is stalled and waited for the backup to arrive. It is possible that not long after the arrival of the Rocks pirates, Monkey D. Garp arrived at the location. The Marines were followed by the Roger pirates. According to Sengoku, Garp allied with Goldie Roger to take down the Rocks pirates. Ultimately, the legendary pirate crew was defeated, after which they disbanded. Rocks D. Zebek was proclaimed dead, which was excellent news for the world government as he was the biggest threat to its authority. After the God Valley incident, the entire island mysteriously disappeared. Fans already know that the world government has the resources to destroy an entire island. So, it is plausible to assume that they had something to do with the disappearance of the God Valley. After the incident, the Celestial Dragons hunting competition closed down, as they could not risk such a thing happening again. In the upcoming chapters, Oda will definitely disclose more details about the God Valley incident and what exactly transpired on the island, which can no longer be found on any map. That's a wrap for this video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'll be back with more amazing videos very soon.